In this picture we see Mumbo with a green ginger on top of him, and Banjo with the red bird on top of him. This pairing of purple and green with Mumbo is repeated in other promotional art, since Mumbo is crowned by palm trees. And finally here, where instead of a green ginger, on top of Mumbo is Grunty herself. So, it's curious then that this purple and green scheme is contained within Gruntilda too. Her purple scarf covering her body and her face being green. The colour green, at least in Europe, has been sometimes associated to death and the devil. We might abstract this colour pattern then and say that Mumbo's purple body crowned by a green ginger is the same as his purple body crowned by a skull, since the skull would represent death, so green. There's another possible way of seeing the crown as representing death or decapitation, since Grunty's hat is decorated with a mummy and a skeleton. So her hat is a skeleton like Mumbo's. Her face is side by side with a green goblin, and her body is next to a purple goblin. We might interpret the box art in a curious way then. Banjo has stolen the purple ginger, and Grunty is trying to prevent it. The purple ginger might be Grunty's body, in which case it fits Grunty's plans for almost every game, to recover her body and become herself. First, she sees her body as unfit for her soul and wants Tootie's body. In all subsequent games, her body is decayed more and more, and she is struggling more and more to get back to herself. The more she wants to become someone else instead of accepting who she is, the less alive she becomes. Here, however, a second detail appears. As Grunty's hand reaches out for Banjo, Banjo's hand reaches out for the Jiggy. In other promotional art, the purple ginger has been hiding behind the Jiggy, as if the Jiggy is the purple ginger, therefore the body or the self. A ginger is just one piece. It's incomplete. It's a family of gingers, right? And a Jiggy is just one piece. It's incomplete. Like a decapitated purple body would be incomplete. So, apparently, Mumbo used to be Grunty's personal shaman, but she turned to black magic and transformed his head into a skull, or decapitated him. In the first game, Banjo and Kazooie must bring him skull icons to help him get his head back. However, at the end of the game, even with Grunty buried underground, his face remains a skull. In some sense, his skull head is also his responsibility, it can't just be blamed on Grunty alone. Or, as the colour pairings indicate, both characters are not so separate as it may seem. Mumbo used to be her shaman, so in a sense Mumbo used to be a part of Grunty, a part that has now been extricated. Was he the head or the body, right? Grunty wants a new body, so maybe Mumbo is Grunty's old body, a body without a head, Grunty's sense of incompletion. Grunty has thrown her body away into the trash, so Mumbo was created as a consequence. She hoped to never age and die, to remain forever in a young body, but the logical impossibility of this is slowly creeping back into her awareness in the form of Banjo. Banjo and Kazooie represent the inseparability of mind and matter, of head and body. They can't exist one without the other. This annoys Grunty because she wants to exist only as pure mind without the annoyance of an imperfect aging body. She wants a body that is as ideal as the mind is. Banjo and Kazooie remind her of this, and by collecting Jiggies, they are putting the pieces together of a giant picture puzzle that's scattered inside her mind. The incomplete image. Once all the pieces are collected, it's a picture of herself. In a sense, Grunty's hand reaching out to grab Banjo and Kazooie is the same as Banjo reaching out for the purple ginger, the Jiggy, the body or the self. The second Banjo touches that Jiggy, the spell is broken. This snapshot, this box art, is like a representation of the game's whole adventure in itself. It all happens in this instant, towards regaining awareness of the beauty of change, and the sadness which comes from trying to stave it off. Here Mumbo is the only one who sees Grunty and points to her. The same as in Banjo-Tooie, where he's the only one who points towards her and tells the others to run. Mumbo is the only one who sees Grunty, but the second Banjo grabs the Jiggy, Banjo too will wake up from his dream and see Grunty. It is Kazooie, by the way, who eats the Jiggies whenever they're collected. The picture is being formed within her, like an egg. The Jiggies are like broken eggshells being reconstituted, and from that egg a new creature is born, or oneself is reborn within, a new changed version of yourself. If Kazooie is Banjo's anima, then maybe this struggle against Grunty is also a personal ordeal within the Banjo and Kazooie pair. Tooty wants to go on an adventure, but Banjo is not aware of her. He's sleeping. The responsibility circulates in an open-ended spiral then. Grunty has thrown her body away and stolen Banjo in order to realize her dream. At the same time, Banjo has ignored Grunty and shoved her into the unconscious, and has therefore imprisoned her. This union of opposites needs to be recovered in a magical way, which is why Humbawamba is a mirror image of Banjo-Kazooie united in one. She wears Banjo's yellow shorts and Kazooie's red feathers, integrating both the animus and the anima into herself. She is the magical woman, a witch, so in a sense she is Grunty, right? A witch. Maybe the negative image of Grunty which we see is only Banjo's own distorted view of Humbawamba, through Bottle's own short-sightedness, the rivalry between Humba and Mumbo expressed in some way.